All right. We're going to call to order the meeting of the Township Council for the Township of Lopatcong. This is the October 4th, 2017 meeting. We need to come out of executive session. So I need a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're out. Adequate notice this meeting has been provided indicating time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. We'll take a moment for silent meditation or prayer. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Beth, may we have our roll call?
Yes. Councilman Toledo?
Here.
Councilman Belcarra?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Here.
Council President Pryor?
Here.
And Ted.
Here. You want to do a little
Sure.
thing?
Council was in executive session for exactly 30 minutes. The topics of discussion were as listed on your agenda: 2 personnel matters, an attorney-client privilege matter regarding a COA unit in Overlook Drive, and a contractual discussion regarding the sale of Block 95, Lot 23.01. Minutes from executive session will be available at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I see on our agenda today we have a special presentation by Sheriff McDonald. Sheriff, would you care to come up?
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. I don't know if any of you ever heard of the PAL, the Protect and Locate. It's a program that's been around for quite a while. And what it does is, I'm sure we all know someone has Alzheimer's, autism, dementia, someone that suffered from any of these ailments. And one of the things with these particular ailments is that they wander. Sometimes they become disoriented, can't find their way back home, and in many cases they don't have any kind of identification on them. With this unit, in the time it would take for the police to respond to the house to even begin organizing a search, could help to locate the individual. This watch would be worn by the person with any of these ailments. It has a lock on it, so they couldn't easily take it off. This device here, if they go outside a certain perimeter, would set off an alarm. Once they get outside that perimeter, if the person didn't hear the alarm, then by using your cell phone, it's actually a GPS locator. Some of you may remember about 2 years ago, excuse me, right before Christmas, a young child wandered away from a Christmas party over just across the bridge into Pennsylvania. He was found 2 days later in the river. With this device, it could have been located probably in about 15 minutes. So one of the things I'm trying to do with Project Lifesaver, again, it's been around a long time, but it hasn't been pushed in Warren County. I'm trying to push it in Warren County. But I'm also trying to get the devices. Before I advertise this program to any great length, I want to make sure if someone calls up to request a unit, that it's available to them. So what I've been doing is going to local committees and asking them to donate units to the Warren County Sheriff's Office. So far, I've had a few townships that have donated them, a few private businesses. I'd like to get at least have 20 on hand before I start advertising it. But I can't tell you how valuable this is. You know, someone does wander away with autism or Alzheimer's. Weather conditions can affect the amount of time it can raise the lost for words here. Finding them would be more important with weather conditions, medical conditions that may require medication. So time is of the essence in cases like this. So, again, what I'm trying to do, I'm here to ask for money, basically. as many people probably do at these meetings. But, again, a few of these units, in fact, we do have someone in Lopatcong that's currently using one of these units. I've been asked the question at other meetings, if I have 20 units and someone from Lopatcong needs one, would they get it? Yes, they would have priority. That being said, if Lopatcong Township decides not to purchase any units, and I have a Lopatcong Township resident request one, they too would get it. So they're available to anyone who needs it. They're free of charge at this time. The first year is covered with the purchase of the unit, which costs right now $550. Any questions on it?
I do, Sheriff.
Sure.
Question I have to ask. What prevents the Lopatcong police from buying 2 units and just running the program locally?
They could do that. Throughout the country, though, it's run through the sheriff's office. The sheriff's
Is that a
office
custom, or is it...
well, the sheriff's, when the program first came
Yeah.
out, that's how it was
You
put out.
adopted it
And it'd
as
be
your-
run by a county agency.
program? Yeah.
And you could do that. You know, the local department could buy 3 or 4, maybe you have 6 residents that need them. You know, I think doing it as a county, because the other thing that we do is periodically we go out and test these, to make sure that they're still in operation, the batteries are good. But I can tell you this, this device actually kind of takes law enforcement out of the equation, to be honest, because the caregiver, once they notice they're off the perimeter and they go on their phone and locate them, they wouldn't even need to call the police.
One note, also, through the chief's monthly report, in the last 3 months, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, we've had about 10 missing individuals, is that correct? This month alone, we had 2.
We've had a number, and,
Right.
lengths of time that they've been missing all vary from
Right.
case to case, but yes.
So, I mean, I think it's a really good deal.
And again, the
Take
average
care of our
time,
citizens, and I would recommend it, if anything.
and again, the average time is about 15 minutes. I mean, that's amazing, actually.
Now, if someone needs one of these, they get it free of charge, or is it based on their means to pay or ability to pay?
Free of charge.
Free of charge. And if it breaks?
If it breaks, we replace it, you know.
Say when the person doesn't need it anymore because deceased,
They
do
give
they
it back.
return it?
Yes, they return it.
So they have it as long as they're alive.
Yes. They return it, or if they were put into a nursing home or something like that.
Right.
They would no longer need the unit, it would be returned to us, and then we could redistribute it. Any other questions from anyone? In fact, you know, I wish you could purchase these on your own, because, you know, it would help everybody out, although I think a lot of teenagers would be unhappy. But again,
How many people are participating now, Sheriff?
right now, we have 7 of these units out, and that's all we own.
Are they elderly folks? Yeah.
Well, 2 of them are autistic. The rest suffer from Alzheimer's. And that's countywide. But again, it's because I don't think a lot of people are aware of the program. I think, which is one of the reasons I haven't put it out there yet, because I don't want to get 20 calls tomorrow and say, we don't have them. Right now, I've got, about 8 coming in.
What's an average of town doing? How many they're donating?
White Township donated 3. I've had a couple businesses that donated 1 on their own. I have a commitment from Doug Steinhardt's office to purchase 3. Washington Township, I think they're going to do the same at the end of the year. They're going to purchase 3. So we're getting there.
I don't know where we stand with our budget. I mean, my proposal would be to buy one now. We can always find $550, I think, and then do something with next year's budget.
That'd be great. I very appreciate it.
And this way maybe you can match the other townships. You know, if it's an average of 3, from getting free from every town in Warren County, you'll be in good shape.
I'd be in great shape, yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So I'd like to make that motion to purchase one for the county out of this year's budget. We'll find the $550 someplace, and we'll include it in our discussions for next year's budget, which isn't that far away.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Okay.
Well, that's a
I'm
motion.
going to wait for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sheriff. Okay, we'll go into public comment for agenda items only. Public comment for agenda items only. Have we any public comments with respect to agenda items? Okay, seeing none and hearing none, we shall move to old business. First item of old business is to approve executive and regular session minutes for September 6, 2017. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Valcarro?
Abstain.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Fire?
Yes.
Yes, and Mr. Carroll abstained because he was not at the meeting, correct?
Right.
Yes, okay. Ordinance number 2017-06, the second reading and public hearing of the bond ordinance for various capital improvements in the amount of $1,064,439, authorizing the issuance of $650,000 in bonds and notes financing part of the appropriation. Does anyone wish to speak to this?
To open it to public comment.
We
To do a motion in a second.
First, we need a motion to open it to public comment.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, does anyone here have anything up on the dais to discuss on this matter that they wish to share with the public? Okay. Routine matter. Do we have any questions from the public? Okay, we have no questions, so I will make a motion to close the public meeting. Do I have, I will ask for a motion, rather, to close the public meeting.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we need to do an approval of this ordinance, so I will ask for a motion to approve the ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Fire?
Yes.
Mayor McFetrich?
Yes. Okay, now we move into new business. Chapter 219, trees. Joe Rossi is going to address concerns with respect to tree limbs that are encroaching on township roads. Joe?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me here. Appreciate it. And when I was at M&M Mars, I would ask questions, and if anybody got it right, I'd give them a free token for coffee. I don't have any coffee tokens, but I do have a couple of questions. Okay.
Sure.
I'd like to send out this letter. Everybody have one? Copy of it? Okay. Basically, it's a letter about our tree limbs, okay, asking all residents to trim the trees where needed. And what we did, myself and a couple members of the DPW, we went down. If you take a quick look, basically this right here is just a quick picture of Mellonly Lane, where it has all the trees protruding into the lanes, and a truck cannot drive on his or her side of the road without going in the middle of the road. We do have an ordinance that they shall be cut. They should be cut clear, 12 feet from the sidewalks and 12 feet from the, 7 feet from the road. The other thing that I have here, one letters I've been doing here, is another thing I'm trying to do, and I've been telling people, is this, I'll give anybody a free coffee. There you go. If you could tell me what lane this is. You can't because it's flat. And I've been fighting this guy tooth and nail to come cut down the trees, and he just thinks it's done, and regardless. So basically, I want to send a letter out, so these and these of each trimmed. If it's not trimmed, it states in our ordinance that the Township will remove it or improve the trees, and we came up with, if the resident cannot or refuses to do it, it's a $500 fee. The reason I'm bringing this up, because you know as well as I do, once this letter goes out, first thing that's going to happen, 80% of the people are just going to cut the trees down, say, thank you, appreciate it very much. 10% of the people are just going to put this down there, I'm going to get to it, I'm going to get to it, I'm going to get to it. They never get to it. Another 10% of the people is going to fight us tooth and nail. You'll be getting phone calls. You know, if I send it to the wrong person, why are you sending me this letter here? My lawn is perfect. That happens there. You know, I'm not pointing out anybody. We're just going around. Myself and Brian will go around and we'll look at the trees, and probably what's going to happen is we're going to get notices from residents saying, yeah, you know, a stop sign is, blocked from the trees there. We need to cut that down there. So that's what I would like to do from the zoning department, and I want everybody to be aware of it.
I have a couple of comments.
Certainly.
Questions too, and comments.
Certainly.
All right.
I love questions and comments.
Most of these pictures you show me, it's obvious these trees are on private property.
Correct.
And we have an ordinance that says they have to be trimmed.
Correct.
Now, I imagine there are some trees that are what we call street trees, and they're within the right-of-way, 50 feet. Now, my interpretation of the ordinance is that's our problem.
Right.
Right? Do you
Right.
agree with me?
See, this is the problem that I have.
Or you
You
just say, right, it's a problem?
No, the problem I have, I can't go out there and say, oh, that tree belongs to 350 Stone, it's not marked. Oh, that one belongs, it's not marked there. And that's why I'm saying, if
Yeah, it's a problem in other towns though, too.
Yeah.
There's a number of towns that have, like we have, street trees,
Right.
and they have one status, and then there's private trees that have a second status. And, in other towns, sometimes there's a dispute whether it's a street tree or a private tree.
I agree with that 100%. The trees aren't marked, who owns it?
And usually, somebody within town resolves that dispute. Now, what I've seen some street tree commissions do, and this is the wrong way to do it, they measure 25 feet from the middle of the road. That's assuming the middle of the road is the middle of the right-of-way, and that doesn't work. The better way is to go into the building file, you get a location survey on the house. It's not a property survey, but you can pull off the house and pretty quickly figure out whether it's a street tree or a private tree. So I think as we administer this thing, we have to be cognizant of that. That argument is going to come up, and we may have to...
That's why I'm bringing it up tonight.
If it's a street tree, we have to take care of it.
Right.
If it's a private tree, the owner gets that letter.
Right.
Looking at some of these trees, I think 500 is a bargain. You may want to rethink that. I'd be more than willing to pay the township $500 to trim some of these trees you're showing me.
No problem, okay.
I don't know, Katrina, I mean, the fine, I don't know if you've read the fine in here, it's a little fuzzy.
I did not.
I believe I gave you
What I'd like to do, Joe, I agree with you, I support you on this. It may need a little bit of input from Katrina, a little bit from Paul.
Sure.
To get this off the ground. The third thing is, I got a letter here from Eric, and he was talking about our ordinance. I don't know if I got Eric's. Oh, yeah. He's questioning the 12 feet, which applies across both the street and the sidewalk. And he was saying he thought 12 feet was a little aggressive for the sidewalk. This isn't a scientific study or even a precise survey, but I did a quick search on the internet. I was looking at towns across the country and even some state highway departments. And the norm seems to be 14 feet of clearance over streets. We say 12, so that's what the ordinance says. The norm seems to be 8 feet of clearance over sidewalks, and we're asking for 12. So we might be a bit aggressive there.
At 12 feet, you're going to be disfiguring the tree.
Right.
Too much.
The reason why you want the 12 feet is because
For the sidewalk.
a homeowner can't have a branch on his property and bring it out at 8 feet and not have it at 8 feet at the road. It has to be within...
Sure he can, if the drip line doesn't extend to the road, particularly if he has it on private property. It may extend only over the sidewalk and no further.
But the trees that we have in Meadow, and Mountain...
I know you got pictures here, but we're talking about an ordinance, right?
Right, but that's why the ordinance was
You
changed.
have to meet the more, one of those criteria is going to govern.
Right.
But if I have a tree on the middle of my front lawn and it extends over the sidewalk and that's as far as it goes, but I only got 6 feet of clearance at the sidewalk, then I have to do something about it. But I don't have to raise it to 14 feet or 12 feet. I just need 8 feet at the sidewalk. So,
That's 8 feet after the snow gets off also.
yeah, I know. And it's also 14 feet after the snow, so you wind up with this guinea pole on your lawn.
Well,
I'm saying the ordinance needs a little work.
Okay.
And it wasn't just, I did this internet search, but the one that kind of grabbed me was, let's see, they had, I think it was Hillsborough on here. There was a town nearby that did quite a bit of, what I want to say, it was well-managed in a lot of respects, including their shade tree commission, and they put out guidance, and it was at 14 feet, 8 feet, in New Jersey. That just seems to be the norm. I was wondering if we couldn't reach out to that guy that did our forestry plan, Beth, and see if he'll give us a recommendation, and Paul, if you could give us a recommendation. And, I think for the ones in the street, that you just can't get under, we could issue letters immediately, but I think at the same time, we have to work on the ordinance a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You got a big tree, it's 8 feet in the street, or you can't get under it. Those things can go out immediately.
Okay.
Should we take pictures of the tree so we can
Yeah, more documentation, yeah, better.
document it and
I think we can get it.
send it out to them with the picture?
I have no
Yeah.
problem doing that whatsoever. Okay,
And
yeah.
we have something here too.
Yeah.
So I literally want to hit the low-hanging fruit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. There's,
Start there.
okay, I will,
Now, if you got ones too that are like intersections where you can't see around and all
Yeah,
that safety issue,
I think
they
that-
gotta be in this.
right, that one, I believe I took a picture of, it's 3rd and Dana. You can't make a legal right turn because the trees are in the way there. That's the first I want to go off.
Well, actually, Chief, that one at First and Edward, since we cut those hedges back, I'm getting a lot of feedback. That's really helped.
I think it definitely improved the visibility.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we observe structures like that, or get complaints, we'll stop out and speak to the homeowners, and just cut the hedges back. Or if they're blocking stuff.
So let's tackle the most obvious ones. We'll get a couple of recommendations and maybe just tune up that ordinance a little bit.
And people can spread the word that there's gonna be some kind of enforcement here, where it wasn't in the past. So then people start to do it themselves.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, Joe, thank you.
Okay. We have a request from Stag Industrial-Berry Plastics for relief from sewer connection fee of $94,671. Does anyone wish to speak to this? Because I didn't know they did that. Anyone want to speak to that?
Well, let's let the gentleman from Stag.
Oh, you're here, you were here last time,
Yes, I was, yes.
Came down from Cambridge?
Yeah, Boston, yeah. So, my name is Ray Francisco, with Tag. We were here last month, requesting relief on the fee. We've spoken about the addition of the gravity line as a benefit to the town, which initially cost us $200,000, and we've experienced some change orders on that line itself. So we were requesting that the town consider waiving the $94,000 sewer connection fee. I can go into a few of the details I've went into before, but I'm not sure you were going to about a few things.
I didn't really get together with Paul. Let's explore a few things here. The 94, you're satisfied? That's a realistic number?
Well, that was a number. Yeah, that number is just based on the ordinance, Chapter 183. They have an approval for a little more than 14,000 gallons per day of wastewater, and the ordinance says for commercial use, you take that gallonage and multiply it by $6.70 a gallon. So that's how we came up with the $94,671.
Well, I understand the connection fee. I guess my question is the extra work.
There was clearly extra work here. Some of the things, and I noted this briefly at the last meeting, there's quite a disparity between the depth of the force main and the gravity main. The gravity main is probably double the depth. It's upwards of 10 feet in that particular area. Because it was so much deeper, it was prone to rock excavation. Actually, the rock was fairly shallow going around the curve on Stryker's Road, so that a lot of rock was struck and had to be dealt with during the construction, which affected the progress of the job. The amount of time to do that sewer line was greater than what was originally anticipated, which also, because we had heavy police protection there due to the sensitive nature of that area, it expanded the amount of police costs to cover that particular work. And then there was also issues. We had a number of comments from the neighbors there on the alignment of the sewer. So they had a couple sections of sewer in already, and we ended up having the alignment of the line changed as a result of their comments. So 2 sections of sewer had to be redone, and they had to create another trench, so to speak, to keep it further away from the edge of the road. We also had to change the traffic control plan in response to some comments from some of the commercial, businesses in that area to try to keep the road, the road more open and visible to passing motorists and people doing business with these particular business owners. So there were a lot of things that came into play that I think created more cost.
Can you put a dollar on that yet, Paul, or you're just...
Well, Mr. Francesco had provided me on Tuesday, he had provided some of his actual proposal numbers that he had received before and after, and he had indicated it was a little more than $200,000. The difference between the force main proposal and the gravity proposal. I was a little shocked, but in going through the numbers, in the end, he sent me some supplement to it yesterday on the 3rd, and I have no reason to disbelieve Mr. Francesco here. We've worked very closely over the last year, and he's been a stand-up person and guy. So I think probably the costs were $200,000 here.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
that's
so,
correct.
from what I see, I would agree with the numbers.
Yeah, and then the rock excavation was on top of that as well, so...
And then the other thing I noted briefly to the council at the last minute is, one of the reasons why we had Mr. Francisco and Stagg put in the gravity sewer was we had a gravity sewer design for that area that the shopping center owner was going to put in, and we wanted that replicated because that would tie in the shopping center to the sewer in the future after this job was completed, and also give the potential for several residents to do the same. And there was originally a permit for that work, although it's expired. And the value from a connection fee perspective for all those potential connectors into the sewer is about $23,000. So we would yield potentially, if all those property owners tied in a future date, $23,000.
Do we, I don't recall, do we still have a mandatory connection ordinance?
My recollection is, because we researched this, because the homeowners were not happy about this when the shopping center was proposing it, and Mayor Steinhardt had asked me to look into this at the time, and I don't think we can mandate that any of those property owners tied to the sewer. However, if they had a problem with their septic system, they would be mandated under the New Jersey Administrative Code to tie to the sewer. They would not be able to replace their septic system. They would have to tie in at that point.
I know the reason the shopping center applied back then is they were having problems, and I really don't know how they got by all these years. I haven't discussed this with anybody up here, but I'll tell you what my thinking is, and I don't know, and everybody can speak up. By contract, we have to give half our connection fees to Phillipsburg. We're in the middle of a dispute right now, so probably half of the amount we can't touch.
You're speaking to the microphone. I think you have a problem.
Yeah, I'm the one who forgot the hearing aids, and I gotta speak in the microphone. My suggestion is, I'd like to offer credit for some percentage of the half that we're gonna get. And then I would offer you a rebate on anybody else who connects to that line over the next 5 years. So you'd get 22,500 or something like that, and the potential for another 22,500. We still get a little cash, you get a break, and you get, as people connect, you would get that. And that's just my thinking.
I appreciate that. We were, of course, looking for the entire thing since our cost.
Well, I gotta give half of it to P-Bird right away.
Okay.
I'm not gonna borrow to go in
Okay.
the hole. We can't,
Well,
we can't do that.
Sure, that's understandable. That's understandable.
All I can say is these things are usually worked out beforehand.
Yeah,
So,
understood.
I'm trying to do
I was
something
at
and
preference
not...
as well, but it didn't work that way, so here we are, unfortunately. If you have any questions for Barry, Chris White is here as well, if you have any questions on them.
Well, I think I know what I think I know how the job went, and,
Okay.
I know you're responding to requests. I'm really not sure what more we can do for you. We're taking 22 grand out of this, and that probably helps us, for our effort and the thing. As I recall, you did get permission to do this, then you went septic direction, then this came up again, and there was
That's correct.
a little bit of inefficiency there, and it's the way it is, so.
Yeah. These are back to the original cost, so that doesn't, take into account the inefficiency. We've already absorbed that.
Yeah, I recognize you could have just blown through there with a force main.
Right, that was the intent all along, and as you mentioned, maybe we should have realized this sooner and talked about this sooner before we started as part of that negotiation. However, we didn't. If you can waive that half for us, you'll collect half of that half in your $22,000.
And the opportunity for
And that opportunity for more of your residents
the other folks coming
to
in.
sign in.
Not forever, for 5 years. Which is,
Sorry, Chris.
Hi, like Chris said, I'm Chris White from our corporate headquarters in Indiana. Just a couple questions to help think through this.
who's corporate,
Barry
Barry
Global's
Class.
corporate headquarters, yeah. So yeah, we're excited to be a part of the community, and this is one of the plants that we're investing in, so I think this project probably between the construction and equipment and infrastructure, that was somewhere north of $15 million that we're investing, increasing the employment 30 or 40%. Just a couple questions, I guess, related to this. We think that estimate on gallons is a pretty high estimate. Would there be any way to waive this until we can actually do some calculations on what we're actually sending?
I don't know, we'd have to, it's per ordinance, we would have to look at that. I don't know if I'm prepared to say that. If we waive an ordinance, we have to waive it for everybody. And the estimate came from you, not us, right? It came...
Right, but I think we were trying to give the absolute maximum to make sure it was constructed
What was it?
properly.
I don't know how...
Well, what the ordinance reads here, it says, "For commercial and industrial property, said charge shall be based upon the actual gallonage as certified by the applicant and approved by the municipal engineer of the Township of Lopatcong."
All right, so you provide it, certify it. I don't know, I think we might have some wiggle room there. We can look at that.
That'd be appreciated. And then I think, and just so I understand, there's no recourse or channels to go through for the other half with Phillipsburg? Is that...
Well, we're involved in a dispute. That could
I
take...
guess I don't know how it's set up. We don't have any direct
Could take
relationship.
6 months, could take 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's important to note is even if we weren't in dispute, under our agreement with them, we're obligated to half of what we get, we have to give right to them. So we don't get it. So it's...
Yeah, that's, we never see it. That's by
That's just the way it's set up, so we don't really have a relationship with them then.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. Okay. So, I guess, tell us where we go from here, I guess.
Well, if the board thinks that that's fair, we could start to put some things together and implement it.
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of the engineering guys on site working, trying to be conservative and give good estimates, not really thinking about $6 per gallon that was going to cost to connect to it. So I
believe
feel
it
it's
is
pretty
metered.
inflated.
I believe your pump station is metered.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
All right,
Well, of
so,
course, we base on design, not, what I'm getting at is, there's, even at the state level, there's always something added to average, right? It's, don't give me 6 months worth of flow, take an average and think that's the connection fee. There'll be some analysis that goes into that, but we'll take a look
It'll
at
be
that.
significantly higher in the summer.
Yeah, we'd like to see, the seasonal fluctuations, so there'll be a little cushion, and I think we could do something there.
all right, so we'll expect your submission in the near future?
Yes.
Well, how does it's just a proposal, can we poll the board informally?
What was the 5 years?
I'm saying if that shopping center,
Right.
or the Marinelli's, or the James hook up, they would get those connection fees.
The half we don't pay to Fever.
The half we don't pay Fever.
Right, so they would get those connection fees at $22,500.
Well, I know, was 22 the whole thing, or that's,
Yeah, I computed $22,776. That's the potential connection fees for those 4 properties.
but then we have to give 11 of that to Fever?
Right.
We would, yeah.
So it would be, the maximum, there would be a cap on what you would get from that of about 11,000, so you realize that, right? That's all it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we cap that.
And this is if they connect.
If they can,
If they connect.
within 5 years.
No guarantee.
Within 5 years. If they're going to connect.
And then we'll look at your connection fee. And this may not be all at once, it'll be,
I just have a question for the governing body. I believe based on a correspondence I received yesterday or today, that the applicant is going to be doing their final testing of the pumping station and the force main on October 16th. And if it passes, I believe there's going to be the potential for wastewater to be discharged to our sewer system on October 16th or 17th. Are we going to require them to put up, I guess it's 3/4 of the calculated connection fee now before that happens, or are we going to waive it and monitor, I guess, their sewer usage? How are we going to handle this? This is something I need to work out with these gentlemen.
Well, here's the thought I had. I think the, whatever percentage of the connection fee that's due in the course of normal business, however, we normally collect that. So in other words, P-Burg share and a half, we want to keep, that would be due 3/4. And then as we monitor your flow, we'll be in communication, and if we think a reduction is realistic, we'll just implement it. And it'd be credited back to the data connection.
Just credited on the normal bill?
Yeah, we could do that. We can take it off your bill or whatever. I don't know. We haven't done a lot of this way. Like I said, it's usually worked out.
Right, understood, yes, I agree. Okay.
Paul, makes sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
It'll get ironed out over time. So we have to work together on this.
Okay, appreciate your help.
Yeah, we're happy to have a new commercial business here, so.
Yeah, very happy.
Industry.
So I think what we should do, the township attorney, Katrina, and myself should send you a correspondence summarizing what we discussed here tonight, so that you're aware of what you need to post with the town between now and October 16th in the way of cash, and then what we're going to do, and then this potential for getting some of that cash back if other people connect within a 5-year period, and then the monitoring we're going to do in conjunction with you and your staff, and we'll have to determine the period of time, and we're going to look at your meters. I don't know if it's 6 months worth of data or whatever, to come up with a flow, a typical flow that's happening there, and then come back and reassess things at that point.
Yeah, I'm thinking that you'd want a year's worth of data, but if it's painfully obvious that it's overestimated, maybe we could do the adjustment in stages,
So we'll get your correspondence. While you're here tonight, just one other thing. I know, thankfully all this work is done, but your contractor has a large amount of money due to the police department. I guess it's the last round of bills, so we are going to need to clean that up between now and October 16th as well. Our finance office alerted me to that the other day. So I know the police chief is here, he's aware of it, so we're going to need to resolve that too.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
I'll be in touch with you guys
Okay.
tomorrow on that.
Sounds good.
And get together with them.
Okay.
Make sure we get that taken care of.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Okay, next item is an ordinance, 2017-07, first reading of a salary ordinance to establish ranges for certain job titles. Now, I thought we had paid a consultant to come in and give us information on where we should be with pay to certain titles, and I thought maybe we better wait until that comes in before we push this first ordinance through.
Are we up against the title, Beth? Is that the reason, or?
No, the township budgeted 2% raise for all the employees, and there are about 9 titles here that the raise then would fall outside the range. So the range had to be increased first in order then to next month adopt the resolution so we can award the 2% raise. Now, the company that's performing the compensation plan will come back with the recommendation of the proper ranges that we should consider. But that isn't done yet. I don't know. They're in the midst of, collecting information right now from the towns who are going to participate. So it could take a couple months yet.
It just seems like we shouldn't
So that's why
do it until we get that.
we're only doing the ordinance with regard to the 9 titles that are affected. Once we decide to establish the correct ranges, then one ordinance will be done for every title that we have.
Is there a problem if we hold off and do this one time when the study comes in and make everything retroactive?
Well, I think the majority, but a lot of the township employees have been waiting for a raise since 2012, and they were excited this year that they were going to be awarded one. And I think that they've waited long enough, and I think any effort that we make is a good faith effort to our hardworking employees.
And I do appreciate that, but, if it's a commitment to make it retroactive, is it a hardship? I'm thinking we're paying this guy to do it.
I think the only concern you should just keep in mind, which is not necessarily for this meeting, but the ranges are by ordinance, and so therefore you have to have 2 readings. So if you don't do it this meeting, for it to be for this year,
You run out of
you'd
this.
have to do it in November and December, because you need 2 readings, so
Well,
that's the only thing to keep in mind.
There's usually 2 meetings in December, though.
Yeah, but there might not be
Yeah,
enough
they've
time
been
to
getting enough
advertise between
time.
them.
Right.
So these are setting the ranges. As long as their current rate is still within those ranges, then you wouldn't,
Yeah,
you could decide to not give them
but
raises.
it's not, that's why we're doing this.
No, if you change the ranges to obviously make the higher end higher, as long as what they're currently being paid is still within the range, you didn't bump them out of it, then you could do this and then never give them raises. If that's what the council decided, I'm not saying that's what you would do, but if you decided not to give them raises, you wouldn't be, as long as the range is still what they are now and what they would be if you gave it to them, you're not tying your hands to do anything in the future.
Well, if we wait one more month, like do the first reading and then do the second in December, maybe we can find out how close to, the end of the report is. If it gives them another month, maybe we can, give them a call tomorrow. How much, time before we get a report?
That's not going to affect you. You're still going to have to do, most likely a whole ordinance, okay? Which is going to be a couple pages long. And the resolution is still going to award 2%. I think the compensation plan is going forward.
Well, tonight, the first reading, it's just the ordinance. We're not giving anybody a raise tonight, right?
No.
I'd be okay with the first reading tonight. It doesn't commit us to anything other than the first reading. And I would reach out to these guys, Beth, and see if they can't,
I'm already speaking with them. I know exactly what
accelerate
they're
things.
at, and they're not ready yet, so.
So it gives us a month to, look further into this.
Well, wouldn't we have to adjust it again? You only brought these salary ranges up enough to accommodate the raise, correct?
For these 9 employees.
For those 9 employees,
the
yeah.
2% would take them just outside the range.
Okay. So, I don't see any harm in that. It's only up there.
It's the first reading.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Okay. All right, I can't find my copy of the, I know I have it, but it's a little one-pager, and they get lost.
It's right after all the tree stuff. You find the
Is
favorites.
it?
Yep.
Okay. The one-page ones are hard. All right, now, do we have to read this in any fashion, or it's a...
No, because once you do first reading, it will be advertised, so then it's available. If you want to read the titles, since we said there's 9, if anyone's interested in what the 9 are.
All right, the titles are as follows: Administrative Clerk, Accounting; Electrical Inspector, Plumbing Inspector, Fire Official, Superintendent of Roads, Senior Public Works Repairer, Security Officer, Counsel, Chief of Police, Chief Financial Officer, and Laborer. So those are the categories. And my understanding from Beth, and I haven't calculated this independently, nor has anyone here, I don't think, these only represent an increase on the high end sufficient to accommodate the raise that these people have already been granted. So,
No.
what?
No.
What? That's what I thought you said.
No, I didn't calculate. Now, like, if you look at the chief of police, that's his 2%, so that's exact. So is the security officer exact. I just, worked with Bernie and some other information that we continue to gather, continuously, to monitor titles similar to these. And I put in a small range, which will change when we get the compensation and database.
Mom, what my concern would be, if there's not enough, you didn't give them enough here.
Well, I did, but it's
Give them just
little-
enough for the 2%.
She said no.
I gave them a little more than, I just expanded the range, so much. They're getting $33 an hour, I made it 35.
Yeah, I understand, and it's just a range. I mean, you're not committed to give the person that,
And they're not getting 35.
Okay.
and it's only a first reading.
All right, so that's the first reading. I guess we will take a vote to approve this first reading. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Beth, roll call, please.
Yes, Councilman Toledo.
Yes.
Councilman Delcaro.
Yes.
Councilman Ray.
Yes.
Council President Fryer.
Yes.
Yes. Next item, 4. Ordinance 2017-08. First reading to amend Chapter 243 entitled Zoning and Land Use to incorporate requirement for the preliminary plat and plans in a reduced size. Said sheets shall not exceed 15 by 21 inches in size. A change to the checklist will be required. This is because we sometimes require from applicants these enormous blueprints when they're not necessary, and it's very costly. And everyone on the planning board will get one, or everyone on the council, depending what it is. And it's really not necessary for our purposes.
Maybe I can correct that.
What?
It'll be in addition to the regular.
Yeah, there'll be, I'm just trying to get there.
Yeah.
There'll be a certain number of regular size copies that'll be for the official records of the township, but for the review purposes of the members of the planning board or the council, we would just get the smaller ones. And it just makes sense to do that, because you end up with piles of these things. So, I think it's a good idea, and I'll open it to discussion. Is there any discussion on this?
Is this gonna cost the people extra money to have this now?
No less.
But they need the same big copies also, right?
Well, they need 1 or 2 big copies.
Well, they may need more. Some people want big copies, some people want the small copies. So, it was a request. Some people don't like
No,
handling
an official
big
size
copies.
for the township, and Joe will want a full-size copy. A lot of people said they would be happy with the small copies. So it would be less expensive, because they wouldn't have to produce as many big copies.
What this ordinance would do, it would mandate that a certain percentage of the prints that are submitted to the board would be reduced size copies of the plans.
Now, it's already in our ordinance, that requirement of that size, and it's on the checklist, so how do I make it so that we're just gonna add like a certain percentage within the ordinance to include?
Yeah, I had given the board some examples in other towns that I operate, where we had implemented these ordinances. So Katrina and I need to write up the specifics for the second reading next month. And then we can mark up the...
They'll give you so many copies of the full size like you've been getting,
Yeah, I just need the ordinance,
and then they'll have to submit so many reduced size.
put it in paper and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
And maybe we'll reduce the number of full-size and offset it. I don't think the cost is significant for the applicant.
Typically, the reduced size, once they've got it on the big plan, that's the size they email. So when I engineer I have an application in another town, they email it to me. That's the copy you'd print out on a regular printer, so you could probably print 100 of those at very little. Right now, we require 18 copies. So, and with that, I would like to change, they have they only require 5 copies of their completed checklist. Well, I have 11 people on board, I have myself, so I need a few more than that. So I would like to change that also. I think, I would like 15 sets of everything. And in addition to that, maybe cut the 15 sets of just the plats and plans, maybe down to, 2 copies of the full sets, and then the remainder, the smaller size. Because I can imagine everybody on the board is going to want, the smaller size as...
Well, that's not necessarily true. Some of these are really huge, some aren't. It's common to have a half-size set to carry around for different reasons, so we'll work out the numbers, but the idea is to have some full-size sets available and some reduced-size sets.
Okay.
And Katrina, I don't want us printing them here. I want the reduced-size sets.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Wright was asking about would it cost the applicant more money to make these copies, and I said I don't think it would be negligible.
No, most of them, these things are in the computer, and you have a piece of equipment that just punches them out, so...
A lot of the reduced size sets are done at 11 by 17, so you can just print them off on a normal copier rather than a plotter. So it's a significant savings if you're able to do that. That's probably what you will see in the way of a size that comes into the board for the reduced size sets.
Okay.
So we need a motion for first reading to change the ordinance to read and checklist.
We need someone to make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. We need a second.
I'll second.
All right. So, Beth, would you call the roll call?
Sure. Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Belterra?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Councilman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Yes. All right, resolution number 17113 authorizes the purchase of a medium-duty municipal truck for the DPW from the Morris County Co-op in the amount of $175,486. Now, this is one of the purchases that's being made pursuant to the CFO's plan for capital acquisitions, which we applaud. So, and it's being bought from the co-op, and which gives us a lot of comfort. So, I would like to approve this ordinance, and I would ask someone to give me a motion to do such.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion on this? All right, roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Belterra?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Councilman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Yes. Resolution 17114 authorizes the purchase of an Elgin Crosswind sweeper for the DPW. Where's Brian's big smile? I want to see it. Because he's been keeping that sweeper going for a long time, the old one. This is being purchased from National Joint Powers Alliance. Is that a form of a cooperative? I think it is, yes. All right, and the price on this is $268,816. Again, this is bought as part of the CFO's plan for capital acquisitions. I would like to get a motion to approve this.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Beth, please.
No, I have a question.
Oh, question, I'm sorry.
Brian, can you come up for a minute, please? If you could just give us a description of the truck that we approved to purchase, and what it's going to be used for, and also the new street sweeper, What is the difference between this new one and the old one that we had?
Well, and the difference is the old one doesn't really run.
Right. No.
The roof imploded in.
Right.
All right. Basically, it's rotted out. It's the same concept, a lot heavier metal, a lot newer things.
Okay.
Street sweepers are designed to last 10 years. We've had it 10, 11 years. And it's done its time. It's something the town is required to have through stormwater. I did my due diligence. I went out, and it's $10,000 a month to rent.
Right.
Okay, I know it's $270,000 approximately, but it's $120,000 a year to have nothing. All right. So 2 years, a little over 2 years, you bought the thing outright in rental. So as far as I looked at that, as I said, 8 years are free. All right, if you rent it. So rental wasn't an option. Contracting out wasn't really an option. We looked at all that stuff, for the versatility of what we needed. What we did a little different here, the other one seemed to rot out real quick. So I went with a stainless steel body. It cost me like $10,000 more, but it will outlast. You know what I mean? You know that with the bridge commission, your stainless steel bodies last forever. All right. We upgraded some of the things on it to go to heavier metals, heavier duty piece of equipment. All right. More metal, can handle a lot more rust wise. It didn't go up any. It's the same price. I got to keep my old sweeper. They wanted our sweeper. And I talking with them and different things. I got to keep the old sweeper for the same price as giving it. All right, so, now we have a sweeper that we could sell or whatever we choose to do with it. All right. Like I said, right now the sweeper's down. They ran it 3 days, it broke. All right, I don't know quite what's wrong with it because I didn't get a chance today to look at it, and the guys were doing some other tree work. But it just it's nickel and diming me to death, is what it's amounting to. All right.
So this new sweeper should last us a little longer.
Well, the new sweeper should last you, sweepers last 10 years. If I can upgrade them, they should last you longer.
Right.
Can I promise you that it's going to? I can't do that. You know that. You know what I mean? But I can tell you it's a lot beefier than what I have. I can tell you that the technology is a lot better than what it was. You know what I mean? 10 years ago. Look at your cars, same concept. I think it's the better way to go, all right, from a sweeper's perspective. And moving to the truck, same concept. My trucks I have 3 of them, 3 big ones out of commission right now, being worked on, from brake issues to we got the brake issue fixed. We went down to pick it up today and it didn't want to start. There's a short in there somewhere. All right, so it sits to be worked on again. Too much downtime. I've gotta bring it back, and I gotta weld the floor. I gotta cut the whole entire floor out where I stand, and weld the whole floor in the thing.
Will we have this new truck in time for winter?
No, because you waited so long with your budget. It will not be here till somewhere in April of next year.
And the sweeper as well?
The sweeper, they tell me, is approximately 120 days. Approximately 120 days.
Right.
All right, so was that 4 months? So we're talking November, December, January. Well, we have to wait so many days here, so let's just say, November. So you got November, December, January, February, that should be here. So it's next year also.
After the winter.
After the winter. So we're gonna have to put some money into the old ones to keep them going. All right, because we have no choice. All right, but if you have to keep moving in the right direction. All right. Truck 115, all right, the big yellow one we drive, the lift cylinder, the pin was almost sheared off inside it, all right, just to the point that somebody would have got hurt. All right, the bed when it went up, the pin was sheared off, and if somebody was even near it, they'd have been cut in half. All right, it's just time before somebody pays the price. And that's just my opinion. So, I think you should move forward on them.
All right, thank you, Brian.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Breyer?
Yes. Yes. Resolution 17115 to refund redemption monies on tax sale certificate number 2014-039 and a premium to outside lien holder as per agreement between lien holder and Township on Block 99, Lot 290, C1278 in the amount of $6,563.99. I'll take a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll take a second.
Second.
Any discussions? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Breyer?
Yes.
Mayor Kidd?
Yes. Resolution number 17116 to refund redemption monies on tax sale certificate number 2014-077 and premium to outside lien holder as per agreement between lien holder and the Township on Block 141, Lot 10 in the amount of $3,616.11. I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll take a second. Second. Do we have any discussion? Beth, please call the roll.
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Breyer?
Yes.
Mayor Kidd?
Yes. Resident Rich Wombold.
He's not here.
That's all.
But that is the item from executive session, so if instead, now would be a good time to make a motion to authorize my office to reach out to the adjacent property owners of Block 95, Lot 23.01, for the sale of that lot.
Yes, all right, I'll take a motion to so authorize Katrina's office.
Motion.
I'll take a second. Second. All right, any discussion? Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, we had our own discussion here and I missed it.
What we discussed in executive session about lot 23.01 on Franklin Road, offer it to the adjacent property owners.
This is number 9 on the agenda?
Well, it's
It's actually
number...
10.
I'm sorry,
10.
Resolution 17116?
No, it's number
No,
10.
10. Rich
Mr.
Wombold.
Wombold isn't here, but we discussed the property,
Oh, okay, I missed that part, and the
so just authorizing
proposal
me to
is
send the letter.
as we
Good, yes,
discussed.
it
Yeah,
goes to her
all
office.
right.
All right. Second, roll call.
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Breyer?
Yes.
Mayor Kidd?
Yes. All right, next item. Appoint Police Negotiations Committee for Contract Negotiations. What is this? Now, who is appointing this?
You please.
I create the committees, I thought so. So I have to make how many people should be in the committee?
No more than 2.
2. Do I have volunteers to serve on that committee?
I'll go.
All right. Mr. Wright, Mr. Belcarro. All right, next item, ordinance 2017-09. First reading to amend Chapter 243 zoning and land use to create the MFI2 multifamily age-restricted zone. Katrina, can you
Sure.
touch this?
This is the zone change that is required as part of the settlement agreement reached with Fair Share Housing and Larkin Associates regarding your affordable housing obligation litigation. A copy of this draft ordinance has been attached to your settlement agreement, which has been published in the newspaper and is available online already. This is the actual ordinance to do first reading. The court is holding its fairness hearing on October 23rd at 10 a.m., at which time we assume the court will approve the settlement and the consent order with Larkin, and at which time this will be back for second reading and adoption at your November meeting. In the meantime, because this is a zoning ordinance, this will also go to the Land Use Board for their meeting in October. I will be also submitting to them a memo detailing the litigation and how we got here and why we're recommending this change to them. And then they will make comments and get them back to you, and there's a whole procedure based upon what their comments are. But this is just first reading, but this is what you agreed to in the settlement agreement. Nothing has changed.
All right, thank you, Katrina. I will take a motion to approve the first reading.
Well, I did have a question, and I know Robert's Rules talks about after the first and second, but it might be worthwhile to ask this now. Katrina, under number 1, it talks about 2 different densities depending on rental or ownership.
Is it 15 and 20% that they...
I know I got 6 dwelling units and 12 dwelling units. Do I have an old one? That's the one that's in
Hold on. Yes. But you do not have an old one. That's how it reads.
Well, I guess my question, I mean, the discussion was rental units. Now, what happens if these are built as rental and then a year later he decides to sell these? In effect, he's getting a bonus on the ownership units, or would he have to
Think you
get
have
it?
to-
You'd have to
get it
declare a
back?
condominium.
Pardon me?
You'd have to declare a condominium.
Yeah, what you can do.
You can do.
Yeah, but it's no small
Yeah.
thing to do.
And we may even have a requirement on a deed restriction on that, or it might be part of his approval when he gets his approval. We may have to make sure. I will speak to George, and
I think for first reading, it's it's fine, but I wouldn't want something like that to sneak through.
no?
That's a good catch. That would be in the documentation, that if he decides to convert to condo or co-op
I'll
ownership.
speak to George as the
Yeah.
best way to do that.
All right. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
I will make that motion.
I'm looking for a second. Second? Beth, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Guido?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Fire?
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. All right. The next item, 13, LAA contract, release $5,000 of the stipend from the township budget. This is of the, in 10,000 their stipend is?
Yeah, I guess Bernie's not here, and I don't know what we've released so far, but the problem is to fully break away, they have to carry their own insurance. They have a quote, but they don't have enough cash to purchase the policy right now. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg thing. If they can get an advance on the stipend, we can, adjust that later, but it puts them in business and they finally become an independent organization.
But we don't know how much they've been given so far.
They haven't picked up anything.
Nothing? Nothing?
No.
Okay. All right, then, I'll take a motion to approve the release.
I'll make a motion to advance them $5,000.
Take a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Fire?
Yes.
Yes. Consent agenda. Consent agenda has 14 items. One item it concerns a fairly large amount of funds. I wonder if we shouldn't take that out and do that as a new business item.
The 241, are you looking at?
Yeah.
We can take that out.
Let's move that up here as number
Which one are you moving?
11 of the consent, up to be number, I think there's something screwed up with these numbers. They're off by 1, so,
Yeah.
yeah. I think what happens sometimes is the computer picks up a number that you might have in a like an ordinance number or something, and thinks it's the next number in the sequence, and that's what's going on. Okay, so we'll move that one up, and now that's a new business item, and so I'll address that separately. Approved payment to Delane Contracting, Inc., for work completed on the Stonehenge Force Main Improvement Project in the amount of $241,035.48. Perhaps, Paul, can you give us something on this, or?
No, actually, that's submitted from Dan.
It is.
And our sewer engineer.
Yes.
And that is what he's requesting to pay Lane for the work they've completed thus far on the Force Main project. There are 2 projects going on.
Right, on Stonehenge.
On Stonehenge Pump Station.
Right, this is the part of USDA money?
Right, use or lose.
Right.
Yeah,
And we've gotten an okay from Delane that the work is in fact completed?
we've gotten the okay from the sewer engineer that the work is
I'm assuming you got all the paper. There's a certification from the contractor, or certification from the engineer.
All right. Who is it?
They've installed
Barney,
the
and
pipe.
it's been sent into the,
It's being sent
the
to
government?
the USDA.
yeah,
They've installed the pipe from the pump station
yeah,
until up to Red School Lane so
Okay.
far.
okay,
All right, so in a couple of days, we'll be crossing Red School Lane.
okay.
So that's the work they've done so far.
This is a big infrastructure improvement for the...
Right.
Yeah, they had several leaks in that existing
Yeah.
force main, and Brian, I don't know if we ever found the source of the last leak.
It's miraculously stopped.
And I know, well, it's late now to talk about this, but they looked at relining it versus replacing it. It was more cost effective at this point to just replace it. That line goes all the way back to the beginnings of Wrigley Park.
You know, curious to find out if they've noticed anything when they were removing that line, or they just ran one adjacent to it.
removing that, it's still active,
Right.
so they're not touching that, we're just laying another one.
Yeah, right, you're adjacent to it, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, Joe's 100% right, you know what I mean, there's, when we packed, I think we dug down, remember last year, we voted on that.
Right.
Packed down, and I think we packed it and sealed something off, and that's what I was referring to. So I don't think we have legal, I think we have a problem that we have to address, and that's what's going on, so I think he's doing the right thing.
All right, thank you, Brian. All right, I'll look for a motion to approve Duane Contracting's payment.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, need a roll call, please, Beth?
Yes, Councilman Polito,
Yes.
Councilman Del Cara,
Yes.
Councilman Wright,
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
Yes. Yes. All right, this leaves us 13 consent agenda items. I think you've all had the opportunity to look at them. I would ask then for a motion to approve the remaining 13 consent agenda items.
I'll make a motion to approve those 13 items.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussions? No? Okay, Beth, please, do the roll call.
Councilman Polito,
Yes.
Councilman Del Cara,
Yes.
Councilman Wright,
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
Yes.
Yes. Moving right along, as an announcement, the fall cleanup is scheduled for October 7th, 2017, from 7 a.m. to 12 noon at Firehouse Number 2 and at the Lopatcong pool parking lot. Now, that could be for what type of items, furniture and things like that? Is that what goes there? Big things?
List on the website.
Yeah, the list is on the website.
At the pool, all refrigerators, air conditioners must be Freon, stoves, electronics, along with everything else goes to the pool. All the other debris and trash goes to Station 2.
Or it can come to both.
Or it can come to
Just
both.
the white goods.
But you're not accepting trash at the pool, only the...
No, we're not accepting electronics, refrigerators, stoves, air conditioners,
At the pool?
at the firehouse,
Oh, not at the firehouse.
only at the pool.
How about television?
No Freon.
That's electronics?
Computers, electronics,
At the pool.
at the
At the
pool.
pool.
Right, Brian?
Yes, and television,
And televisions.
And televisions.
at the pool.
I think televisions are being accepted at the pool. Only kidding. All right, so that's our announcement. Now we go into council reports. Do we? Yes. Council reports. Mr. Wright?
I really don't have anything this month.
Okay. Mr. Polito?
Thank you. I just want to mention that the Board of Ed, over the summer, 3 girls who are currently 8th graders at the middle school were selected by their teachers to attend a 3-day 2017 Teen Leadership Initiative. It was held at St. Luke's Warren Hospital. It was sponsored by the South Warren Municipal Alliance. And at this seminar, the 3 girls were Haley Garcia, Brenna Heasel, and Rosie Flanagan had to write essays and present them. And they also presented them at the last Board of Ed meeting, and they all did excellent jobs. And it's basically all I have for this month.
Okay. Well, we're very proud of them. Let's see, who wants to go next? Mr. Pryor?
The rain garden at the pool is complete. was installed predominantly by the Rutgers crew, but Juniper was over there raking and, I don't know, moving rocks and whatever else. There's a picture of the completed garden. It'll look better as those things grow and take hold. The rain comes off the roof down, the downspout comes in the upper end of the garden, makes its way, and those rocks are in overflow down the bottom. Anything that's not absorbed or whatever trickles out. So it went quickly. Rutgers was a good group to work with. Appreciate Juniper's involvement. And Brian, I think there was one issue about some bills that Rutgers said to send them. You had to buy some stuff or pipe.
Yeah, they had to buy a pipe, they had to put a sidewalk in.
And we're going to get those bills?
Well, supposedly, I wasn't there, all right, I was...
Holly said just send them to her.
Well, she
Yeah.
came to the town, and the town should have taken care of it through Rutgers, through Jen, whoever.
Yeah.
I'll check on it tomorrow.
So if anything comes in, we'll get reimbursed.
Ultimately,
For that.
Rutgers will pay for anything.
I got a call from a councilman relative to the Alpha Court. They're looking to join somebody, but it's going to be an RFP. It'll go out to a bunch of folks, and you submit your bid. And so I asked for an RFP. I haven't seen one yet, and we'll just see what unfolds there. As the representative on the planning board, there's two things I think are interesting. The mayor had proposed realigning some appointments here last month. The township engineer said legally that couldn't be done.
Attorney.
The attorney, who would I say, engineer?
Yeah. Paul's good at giving legal advice.
Yeah.
Better than me.
I don't have my hearing aids on, so I'm thinking in another direction. Mayor wanted a second opinion. He went to Tony Spazzaro, and Tony independently agreed with the township attorney, so hopefully that resolves the issue. Second thing that was interesting, the planning board was sued. Tony was assigned to answer the complaint, and it was a party who opposed our approval. We approved that self-storage facility. The competitor sued. They had a conference, and the suit was withdrawn with prejudice, so it's gone. The interesting part is the mayor's argued for 4 years now that the planning board had no responsibility to defend itself. The applicant should pay for this. And he voted to have Tony defend the planning board, and we would pay for it. So either he's had a change of heart, or I don't know whether he was, I don't know. I can't explain it. I'll just tell you what happened.
I don't remember ever doing that, but...
You don't remember seconding the resolution to authorize Tony to...
Yes.
Yes, you did.
That was recent.
Yeah.
Some of the things you come up with...
Oh, I don't want to debate here. They're all documented.
And I know you always
And I'll
have your
put them
little
out
thing
there.
to say.
They're all documented, and all you can come up with is heinous, so...
Heinous? No. I still think that the question about the terms is, it's arguable. I think so.
I disagree.
What?
I've researched it since the last meeting, and I am...
We had two different attorneys,
The,
and Tony's asserted his independence a few times, and he independently came up with the same conclusion, and he actually was in court on that one, so...
Well, it's a somewhat different matter, but,
Mr.
I don't want
Fox's
to
term
discuss
is up
it
at the
here.
end
I
of
will
this year.
discuss that with you at another time, I think.
Sure.
So that would be good.
That's my report.
Okay. Thank you for your report, Mr. Pryor. And Mr. Belcaro, have you a report for us?
Yeah, as I stated before, that Lane completed installing a new sewer line from Stonehenge Pump Station to Red School Lane, and they'll be crossing Red School Lane. And then come November, December, when the new grinder and chamber comes in, they do the installation to finalize that. And then in between that, they'll be doing all the final paving, so that project will be completed.
Okay.
Concerning the odor on Baltimore Street, there hasn't been any complaints, and that's because maybe the carbon filters they've been using has been working. So for the time being, we're going to continue that procedure. And I just want to touch on the leaf pickup. I know Ryan's out there sporadic in different parts of the town, but what's important now is that street sweeper is down. And hopefully that thing will be functional by the end of the season, so you can do a final cleanup in town. Hopefully. That's an important piece of equipment to clean up at the very end of leaf season. So, you guys, hope you guys do a good job on that. Keep it running just a little bit longer.
Just to let you know, real quick, because normally it's not to cut you off, but I got phone calls already. We will use the leaf vac if we have to. The leaf vac does not operate the town fast enough to keep up with everything anymore. All right? It is too slow and cool. All right? So if you hear them phone calls, the public wants it, I got to regroup, and that's where we went with the loaders and backup. Okay? We did this study last year, and I don't need to go into it. I can do 2-3 times as much the loaders. So that's where we're headed.
Right.
All right?
And also, when I know one thing, that the firehouse front driveway, the entire driveway has been retrofitted, dug down 18 inches, and applied stone, something like that, and then paved the whole new front of the firehouse.
Nice.
So, which is, it's a long time waiting, long time coming for that, but finally completed. So, no U-turns until Saturday. That ends my report.
Thank you, Lou. Okay, report of the engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two quick things to report on. On South 2nd Street, the masonry contractor is scheduled to start next week. Had a field meeting with the contractor today, and the work will probably start on Tuesday next week. And then the other item I wanted to point out to you or go over with you is South 6th Street, which work has been budgeted for to improve that street. We have looked at that roadway and what would need to be done to improve that roadway, and I'm going to be looking to get that roadway done by TOCON concurrent with the paving work on South 2nd Street. I just need to coordinate with the CFO when he returns from vacation at this point to present to him the improvement plan and the cost for that improvement plan. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Report of the chief of police.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the police summary report for September, we had a total of 905 logged incidents and activities during the month. Crimes and offenses consists of a total of 5 arrests. The traffic report for the month of September, we had a total of 45 moving violations, 69 non-moving violations issued. And then our motor vehicle crashes were up slightly this month to 24 reports taken and 14 injuries that were reported with those as a result of those accidents. I'm happy to say that our medicine drop box is finally installed. It's operational right downstairs in front of the police department. It's open to the public for use 24/7. They can stop in anytime they want. And I'd like to thank Brian for helping me get that accomplished and getting it installed. I expect that it's going to get much use. I have a big announcement for one of the officers. He has since retired, Detective Doug Moyle. He is, after 18 years, decided to retire in 25 years in law enforcement. So he's done a fabulous job for us throughout those years. Many of those years within the Detective Bureau. We wish him much success and health along the way to him and his family. So that's my report for September.
Thank you, Chief. Wish him luck.
Thank you.
Okay, We need to approve the department reports. I'll take a motion to do so.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, yeah,
Aye.
all in favor on department reports. You're right. Thank you for correcting me. Approve the payment of bills. Okay. I assume that the $1,829,297.30 is the total on this. You get more sophisticated all the time.
Do we have to make an adjustment for the 5,000, or are we going to handle that another way?
You don't have to, because you approved it as part of, as an agenda item, so I don't think
No, I don't.
we have to have it now.
What about,
Probably, yeah, I know.
the device that the sheriff, that we donated tonight?
You did a motion for that too, didn't you?
Right, so we've had that in as well.
It'll be on your bills listing. You've approved it now, but
So it'll be in next
it'll be on the
month.
next
Okay.
month's bill, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we got $1,829,297.30. I will accept a motion to pay the bills.
Everybody's silent? I'll make a motion.
He's paid for it. You paid for it?
Hold it a second.
And a
Make
second?
the motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Belterra?
Yes.
Councilman Ray?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, next item. The next item is audience participation. So we'll open for audience participation. Catherine?
DeVos, 2 Sundance Way. I've been out of town for the last 2.5 months, and I recently read the conflict of interest complaint that Mr. Pryor filed against the mayor and several of his appointments to the planning board. I opened his letter from the DCA on 6/26. I was appalled to read the comment from Mr. McKay that stated in part, "Joe, you are behaving in this fashion, and some might say that you are trying to get on the Bridge Commission." You stated this with no facts and nothing to back
I
up
believe it was a
your
question.
comment.
It was put as a question. But you can continue. Thank you.
Thank you. You later said that this is a rumor that you heard. I personally don't believe you heard this, and it was a total fabrication on your part. This is not the first time you've done something of this nature, and I agree with the Superior Court judge that you were elected mayor, not king. Mr. Pryor expressed his concerns openly after careful research. Despite ample documentation, you seem to object to any concern that he presents by calling his ideas and research heinous. You use that word several times, and it looks like you're simply being evasive. Also, we've not seen your written response to the DCA. Are you hiding something? It is my opinion that perhaps you might want to look at your own actions and take responsibility for the many missteps you've made while being mayor. I think that you owe the public an apology for your entire term. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Let's see, what's next? Oh, yeah, anybody else on audience participation, sir?
Harvey Walters, 325 South 3rd Street. Going back to old business. Second second reading and public hearing of bond ordinance for various capital improvements, which are
They're in the ordinance, and they,
have to find the ordinance.
as soon as we find the ordinance, we can go down.
Here it is.
And actually, I think we went over some of these at the first reading, but well, as soon as we lay our hands on you, we can tell you
So
what the
various
project's...
sidewalk improvements, this one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Read it?
Yeah.
Various sidewalk improvements, including but not limited to Belvedere Road and Strikers Road, including all of the work and materials necessary therefore and incidental thereto, as shown on and in accordance to the plans and specifications thereon, on file with the Office of the Clerk, and hereby approved. Acquisition of the Department of Public Works vehicles and equipment, including one dump truck, one street sweeper, all is shown on and in accordance with the plans and specifications thereon, file with the Township Clerk. Acquisition of various fire department equipment, including but not limited to hydraulic rescue tools, including hydraulic pump, hoses, cutters, spreader, rams, and mounting accessories, all is shown on in accordance with the plans on file with the Township Clerk. Various road improvements, including but not limited to 4th, 5th, and 6th Streets, including all work and materials necessary therefore and incidental to, and in accordance with the plans on file with the Township Clerk. That's it.
Katrina, could you just go down the cost breakdown real
Sure.
quick?
The sidewalk improvements, estimated cost $430,000. Department of Public Works vehicles and equipment, approximate cost $450,000. Fire gear, approximate cost $38,775. And road improvements, $145,664,000.
But the sidewalk improvements will be offset to a large degree by a DOT grant.
Great grant, right.
sounds good. Can I give you some information? So your tree trimming ordinance,
Sure.
most tractor and trailers with a hand-type body are 13.6,
And that's probably where the 14 comes
Yeah.
from, yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see.
Hello. Lori Chesla, 12 Meadowview Drive. First, I just want to thank everybody for your support for Community Day. It went very well. Thank you, too, to Paul, who was one of our donors. We had a lot of generous donors this year. It allowed us to give the children the rides for free. We were also able to put on a small yet nice fireworks display, and I think everybody had a good time. We had music going all day, which was nice, and thanks to everybody who was here, who was able to attend. Speaking of music, I went to a meeting last night at the Warren County Cultural and Heritage Commission. I spoke to Bill about it beforehand. There are, Robin Woods, who's on my committee, is also on the PTA, and she gets a grant every year for the Day of the Arts and some plays at the school. And she talked to the head of the commission, and he stated that it wouldn't be a problem if Lopatcong Township Recreation Committee also applied for a grant. We're considered even though it's the same township, we're considered two separate organizations. So I went to the meeting last night, and he went over the whole application. And our program, our Music in the Park program, is actually a very good contender for the grants. It's a matching fund. I know we spent about, I think, $4,200 on music this year. So even if we were to go, I have to fill out the whole thing. I'm going to have Matt review it on the committee and then present to you for review. I think it needs 2 signatures from the township. It's due by November 13, but I think they say you can ask between $1,000 and $6,000. So if we go in with a reasonable amount, I know we can definitely match it because we already spent that this year.
You say 1 and 6, so if you did like 4 and 4, you'd be right in the middle.
Yeah, so in this way it gives us a little leeway in case they, knock us down a little, because I know from being on my own, the charitable conservation Commission, you can't always give, or, all those letters. You can't always give as much as everybody's asking, but if you get a little, I think it will help for that. So that would definitely help offset the cost of music in the park, because that was the only thing we did this year that we didn't get any donations for. That was the one area. Everything else, the 50th anniversary of the pool, the movies at the pool, Community Day, all those events it's paid for with money from the township, but also donations. So music in the park was the only one that we hadn't asked for any money, so we're going to try for the grant first. I'm also going to look out to the Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, because I do believe they help Phillipsburg with their music at the park. It's a big, I see a lot of you there. People really enjoy it, and even somebody at the commission last night who's also doing something for another group said she loved our Music at the Park series, so.
I know we have another meeting, but I would just as much make the motion to authorize the rec committee to prepare this and authorize the mayor and what's the second signature?
They would like somebody from the actual committee to sign, and then somebody from the township.
And I suggest that the mayor and yourself be authorized to sign this, and we get it out of here, and you can move on to the next grant.
Okay.
All right?
Do you have to go through that?
Who made a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The other thing I have is, I know we've been talking about the RFPs. When we talked with our committee, and I already explained this to Bill too, is that we were thinking of going with something that's small but could be very handy for us, and that would be a new sound system at the pool, just like speakers. That would help us with the movies and also with the music during the day. As you know, we borrow the speakers and all the equipment from the school, and if you're ever there, thank Matt and Brian and other people who do show up to help us lug the stuff out every time and then put it back. I know there are better options these days. I reached out to Dave Phillips just to because I need to get a quote so I can at least give you some type of amount for the RFP, because I have no idea how much this could cost or what the range is, going from just the basic speakers to something, that's all Bluetooth, and even down to like the DVD player. So I'm trying to arrange to meet this guy from there with Brian, and hopefully Bill, if he can come, so he can at least look at the pool a little and give us some different price ranges so we know, and then we just put the RFPs together.
What would the sponsor get for this?
That I'm not sure. I mean, we could, if they want signage at the pool, or...
You'd have to give that a little thought.
Right, yeah.
And for how
I'm not
long?
quite sure.
I mean, you don't get it named in perpetuity after you, so, well...
Yeah, so those are those little, if you guys could figure that out, I'll try to get the quote.
I think some of it depends on the donation, too.
Right, yeah, because if they only donate a little and you end up having to put more into it, but I figure if we could at least get an idea of how much it would
for
cost.
Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah. Or we could just see movies at the pool, provided with sound system by so-and-so.
Do you have any idea what other, this is a good start. Are there other things you're looking at?
There are definitely other things. I know we were tossing around the idea of a lot of things, actually. Recreation is looking to maybe improve the pavilion a little, upgrade the bathrooms, maybe make them accessible from the outside. We'd love to put in a little kitchen area in there with a roll-up window, maybe expand the pavilion, things like that. Also, I know in the case of some of our ball fields, at the last LAA meeting, a lot of the newer parents are complaining about the quad, and that their drainage issues hasn't been fixed like the junior field. That's very expensive. I think that costs somewhere over $30,000 to fix the junior field, so that's another potential item up there.
And there's just then ongoing maintenance.
Right.
Too.
And then things like for the pool, I'd love to get a splash pad, or even if we just got new slides, or, new chairs and stuff like that. So you can go big, or you can go small, do a bunch in between, but I figured if we started with the sound system, see how it worked, and then looked at the bigger...
pilot project, and...
So I'm just once I get the quote, I'll bring it back to the November meeting, and then we can go from there.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no more questions or people that wish to speak, I would like to take a motion for us to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's done.